Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Xcoding with Alvin. In this video, we are going to build native news Windows app using Flutter. With the release of Flutter 2.10 in February 2022, Flutter for Windows Desktop has reached stability for deploying app in production quality environment. Let me open the article announcing this. So if you are interested, you can read this Medium article by the Flutter team. They are detailing all about this Flutter for Windows release. So here it provides the architecture of Flutter in Windows using this Windows Embedded C++, and these are the packages that are supported inside Flutter for Windows, and all the current ecosystem here: Flutterflow, Realm, Code, and many more. So if you want to learn about them in details, I have provided the link to this article in the description below. Okay, now let me show you the demo of the news app that we are going to build. Okay, here it is. At the root, we have this sidebar navigation pane containing all the sidebar items. Here, these are the categories from top headlines, business, technology, entertainment, and so on. We can expand and collapse this navigation pane, and the main content is presented in a grid-based layout containing this list of cards. This grid is adaptive to the width of the window. So here, when I resize this window, you can see the number of cards in the horizontal row now only shows 3 per row, and when I set it to full screen, it shows 4 items per horizontal row. And this is very adaptive and responsive, as you can see. Now let me change the category to business. It shows this progress indicator and then loads the articles. Okay, and here let me click on one of the card. So when I click on one of the card, it will open the article URL in browser. And here we have this drop-down menu item. It contains these 3 drop-down items. Open in browser and send. This will open Windows Mail and then share the URL. And the last one is copy the article URL to the system clipboard. And that's finally it for all the features that we are going to build in this video. Now let me close this. Before you continue on this tutorial, I expect you to have previous knowledge and experience on building Flutter app. But if you haven't, I will provide a reference to you to follow. So here there are these Google Code Labs articles on writing your first Flutter app. You can just follow this code lab. This will be a great introduction for you to build a Flutter app for the first time. This provides a step-by-step instructions. So these actually are 2 parts article. This is part 1 and this one is part 2. So I'll provide the links to this tutorial at the description. Okay. Before we begin, please make sure you have installed Flutter for Windows. If you haven't, you can follow this guideline from the Flutter official website for the Windows install. Just follow all of these steps. Download the Flutter SDK, adding it to the environment variable path so you can run Flutter command from PowerShell, and also run Flutter Doctor. And for building Windows app, you also need to download the Visual Studio Community Edition, not Visual Studio Code, but Visual Studio Community Edition with C++ support for building desktop app. So with this, you should be able to build a Flutter native Windows app. Okay, and that's it for. And here you also need to download Visual Studio Code. We are going to use Visual Studio Code for development, and click on the extension. Make sure you install those 2 extensions, Dart and Flutter extensions to enable Flutter development using Visual Studio Code. It will add the debugger support. Okay. And without further ado, let's begin and start coding. If you encounter any issue when working with this project, you can also download the completed project from the GitHub repository that I've provided in the description. Also, if you are interested to learn on how to build news app for Apple platforms such as iOS, macOS, tvOS, and watchOS, I will also provide a link to the playlist containing all these videos. So, without further ado, let's begin by opening Windows Terminal first. Okay, so this is my home directory. I'm going to go to Documents directory, and then in here I'm going to type Flutter create. I'm going to give it a name of Exia News. Okay, it will create the project Exia News and create all the skeleton for the app. So let me open cd Exia News, and then let me just type Flutter run first. And I'm going to select Windows for the deployment target. Remember that Flutter supports multi-platforms such as desktop, web, and mobile. But in this video, we are going to focus only on Windows native app. So I'm going to select one. Okay. So this will build the Windows application. Let's wait for it. Okay. It successfully built the project, and then it opens this window containing the default application skeleton here. This is the default Flutter app. So here you have push the button this many times when I click on this button. Okay, we have successfully built native Windows app using Flutter. Now let's open the project in the Visual Studio Code. Just type code and then dot. Okay, so this is the, let me make this full screen. So this is the project, and in here these are the folders, and this libs contains the source files for the Flutter app. Okay, so this is the main application, and here we have this run app as the entry point, and then this is basically just initializing this Stateless widget, which is the root widget for the app. And yeah, this is the default skeleton. And here to add the dependencies, we can go to this pathspec.yaml. So currently we have the Flutter SDK and component icons as the dependencies. Okay, now let's begin. So the default theme that the Flutter uses for this skeleton is this material theme. This is provided by Google. But for Windows app, we are going to use the third-party theme, which is Fluent UI, Windows native design language. To do that, we need to import additional pub dependency into our project. Let's find it in pub.dev here. So let's find Fluent UI. Okay, so this is the one, Fluent UI. Okay, let's open this installing. So we need to run this command, flutter pub add Fluent UI. Let's copy this command, open Visual Studio Code, and then type this Control tilde to open the terminal here. And then let me just paste this flutter pub add Fluent UI. Okay, it will download Fluent UI 3.10.3. And if you see here the pub spec, it's going to add the Fluent UI here as the dependency. Okay, so we have added Fluent UI. Next, we are going also to add the window manager package. This will help us on controlling the window in native Windows app. Okay, for resizing and repositioning window, as well as handling several actions for the window, such as when the user close, resize, or anything else here. These are all the APIs. So let's click on installing and then copy this Flutter pub at Windows Manager and go back here to the terminal inside our project, and then Control V, Flutter pub at Window Manager. Okay, let's check the pubspec.yaml. Okay, we have this window manager 0.2.1. Okay, these are the required dependencies for now. Let's go back to main.dart. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is to make this main function as async. Okay, and then we need to invoke widgets Flutter binding and ensure initialize. This will make sure all the widgets binding are properly initialized when we execute the run app. And second, I want to run window manager. So when I press enter on this will import the window manager.dart at the top, if you can see here. And then I'm going to invoke ensure initialize. Okay, this will also make sure all the window are properly initialized before we run the run app line. Okay, and as you can see, this ensure initialize is a feature, so it means that we need to call await in here. Okay, and then I'm going to invoke window manager dot wait until ready to show. This is also a feature, but I'm going to just chain it with then here, and let me provide the closure here. It's going to be an async closure. Okay, and then inside the closure I'm going to execute this. So first I'm going to execute window manager dot set title. So this will be the window title at the top. I'm going to pass action news. You can pass it any name that you want. Second, I want to run window manager dot set title bar style, and then in here I'm going to pass normal. Okay, and I'm going to also invoke window manager dot set background color. Here I'm going to pass transparent. Okay, to make the background color of the window transparent. And then I'm going to set the window manager dot size, set size. I'm going to pass a constant of size of 755 width and 545 as the height. Okay, and let me also set the minimum size of the window. Okay, also I'm going to pass the same value here. Let me just copy this and then paste it in here. Okay, and also I'm going to make the window to be centered when it launched for the first time by invoking window manager.center, and I'm going to show the window dot show, and I'm going to invoke window manager dot keep taskbar. I'm going to pass false, make the window not show in the taskbar. So I'm not going to show it in the window taskbar. Okay, but if you want, you can also pass through. And then continuing on, I'm going to go to this my app. This is the root widget. This is a stateless widget. Now I want to replace this material app to use the Fluent app. I'm just going to delete all of this, and then I'm going to return Fluent app. Press enter to auto import this. Okay, this will import Fluent UI.dart. To avoid any conflict on the theming, let me just delete this material.dart import. Okay, and then we need to provide the title for the app. I'm just going to give it a name of Action News, and also I need to pass the theme here, the default theme. So here I'm going to pass the theme data. Okay, and then in here I'm going to pass brightness. I'm going to pass brightness dot light. Okay, this is the default theme. And the accent color, I'm going to pass colors dot orange. And second, to support dark theme, we can also pass the dark theme here. Okay, so let me just copy this, and then instead of using brightness.light, I'm going to use brightness.dark. Okay, okay, we have the theme. This is the default theme, and this is dark theme. So actually this one supporting changing the system theme in runtime. So when I change the Windows theme to dark or vice versa, it won't change in the same runtime. You need to restart the app. Okay, but if you want to change the theme in runtime, you can use the provider dependencies, and then you can implement a change notifier provider. I won't be detailing too much into that because that's a whole another topic. Okay, and here I'm going to provide my home widget, the root widget for the Fluent app. In here I'm going to pass this my home page. Okay, let's make this as constant, and the title, and just give it the name of News. Okay, this is the my app. It returns the Fluent app. Now we're going to configure this my home page. First, let's delete all of this. We don't need this. Sorry, let me just keep the title, and let me delete this counter, increment counter method. We don't need it. And let's delete all the scaffold this inside this build method, and let's just provide a blank text first. Okay, now let's implement this my homepage stateful widget next. So inside this my homepage state, we're going to add a mixin using this with keyword. So we're going to implement the window listener. Okay, so here we're going to implement all of the window listener behavior inside this my homepage state. So Dart actually does not support multiple inheritance, but we do actually can implement additional behavior using this mixin, but it's still using a single inheritance. Okay, and now first let's declare the property. The first one is the global key. Let's give it a name of view key, and then initialize global key. Okay, this will be the main global key for the navigation pane. Second one, let's implement the init state. So this is the callback that got invoked when the stateful widget is initialized. So in here, before the init state in super, we need to invoke window manager. So by adding this window listener, we got this window manager property, and then we need to invoke add listener, and we need to pass this, okay, which is ourself. And then we need to also implement the allocation, in this case this post method. Okay, so here before we invoke super.dispose, we need to clean up and remove the window manager listener. We need to remove ourselves. Okay, and then that's all the methods that we need to implement for the window listener. Next, we also going to handle the on window close. Okay, so basically this will be invoked when the user click on this X button at the top right of the window. So in here, we're going to prevent the closing and then present a dialog. Do you want to close the window? And then if the user click yes, we're going to close. If no, we're not. So first we need to get this boolean, and then let's give it a name of is prevent close, and we need to invoke window manager is prevent close. So this is return of future of boolean, so we need to make this method async. Okay, and then we can simply use this await window manager is prevent close to get the boolean. Okay, and if is prevent close is true, okay, we're going to show the dialog here, this one, the one that comes from the Fluent UI. We pass the context, and then for the builder we need to pass the method here, the closure. Okay, so in here we need to return the widget. In this case we need to return the content dialog. Okay, and for the title of the dialog we're going to pass a constant of text confirm close. Okay, and for the content, let's also pass a text. Are you sure want to close the app? Let's remove the question mark from confirm close. Okay, and that's the content text, and let's provide actions, the button, and then here we need to pass field button first, the first button. Here I'm going to pass a text yes, this is the confirmation, and then I need to pass the handler here. Sorry, let me pass the handler here, and then I'm going to just invoke navigator dot pop context. Okay, and then I'm going to just destroy the window by invoking window manager dot destroy. Okay, this will close the window and then kill the app. Okay, that's the first button. The second button is also a field button. So here let me pass a text of no, and then also provide a handler. Okay, and then inside that handler I'm going to just invoke navigator dot pop, passing the context. This will just close the dialog pop-up. Okay, so I'm going to remove this super dot on window close. Okay, I'm not going to invoke that. So yeah, that's the implementation of the on window close. Now let's go to the build method here, and so we need to return navigation view. Okay, and then here I'm just going to pass the key, passing the global key property, the view key, and then I need to pass the pane. This is the sidebar pane, and here I'm going to initialize the navigation pane. Okay, and so we need to pass a selected index. So we need to create a property to track the selected index in our navigation pane. So here at the top, I'm going to declare this a property with the type of integer, and then I'm going to give it a name of index with the default value of 0. Okay, so we need to pass this index. Okay, and then we need to implement onChanged handler. So in here, it's going to pass the index that is being selected by the user, and then in here I'm just going to invoke state, and I'm going to set the index with the, so let me change this to I, and then here I'm going to set the index property with the I. Okay, this will update the selected index. And next one is the display mode. So I'm going to pass pane display mode. So there are several options: auto, compact, minimal, open, and top. So when you use top, the bar will be on top instead of on the side. Okay, so here I'm just going to pass compact. Okay, and you can try to play around with top if you are interested. So next we need to implement the content. Here I'm going to pass a navigation body dot builder. Okay, it will provide the, we need to pass the index here. This we pass the index property, and then we also need to pass the item builder closure in here. So this closure provide two parameter, context and index. Okay, and here we need to provide the return the appropriate widget according to the index, selected index. But for now, I'm just going to return a text widget. So I'm going to return text. Okay, selected, and then I'm going to just show the index, the selected index. Okay, so this is the first implementation of the navigation pane. So let's try to build this first. So now let's try to debug the app for the first time. Go to this run debug item from the Visual Studio Code navigation pane, and then click on run and debug. Okay, and let's click on this drop down menu item and select add configuration. Okay, this will automatically create this .vs code folder and create this launch.json here inside this project directory. Contains the three configuration. If you see in here, the Action News, the Action News profile mode, and the Action News release mode. Okay, and it also will show this widget inspector. Okay, so this is actually what the Flutter extensions provide. So basically this is just very similar to the Chrome inspector, where you can select an UI element and then it will show you the detail in here. Okay, but we are not going to delve deep into this widget inspector. So let me just close this, and if you see here in my taskbar, I have my app runs this Action News. Okay, so as you can see, this is the root, this is the navigation view with the navigation pane. We haven't created any items yet in the navigation pane, but as you can see, it runs successfully. Okay, now let's minimize this. Okay, if you know that Flutter uses hot reload, so we can update the code and then we don't have to rebuild the app for the UI to be reflected in this window. Okay, So let's create a navigation pane items first, I think, and navigate to this main.dart file, and then basically in here, this pane, we need to, okay, so here after the display mode here, let me add a comma and then provide the parameter items. So we need to pass the list of navigation pane item. Okay, let's hard code the navigation pane items for now. So let me pass an array here. Here, let me initialize pane item. Okay, so there are this icon that we need to pass as the mandatory parameter. So here I'm going to pass initialize an icon, and I'm going to hardcode the icon data. So the Fluent UI also provide a set of Fluent icons that we can use. There are so many Fluent icons that comes with the Fluent UI here, as you can see. So first we have the news. We're going to use news here, and we can also pass the title. Here I'm going to pass top headlines as the first navigation pane item. I need to make this as a text. Okay, now we have the first pane item. If you see in here, the hot reload works perfectly. And let's also stop several more items. So let me copy this pane item and then pass this for the second item. For the second item, I'm going to pass business center logo as the icon. I'm going to change the text to business. And for the third one, I'm going to pass let's say laptop secure, and I'm going to pass the text technology. Okay, so let's say we have 3 pane items for the sidebar. As you can see here, it's being rendered nicely with the text when it is being expanded. Okay, so I want to show you the display mode. Let's say I change this to top. Okay, you see here, now it is being shown on the top. Okay, but I don't want this UI. I want just to use the compact style for the display mode of the pane. Okay, looks nice. We have successfully added the icons, and if you see in here, when I select the other items, it will update this selected one, selected index 2. Okay, because in here we provide this item builder to return a text containing a selected index string. Okay, so let's move on and implement the models first. We're going to implement the article category enumeration. So to represent this pane item, we're going to create models for it containing the icon, title, as well as the category. The first model is the Enum, which is the article category. So here inside the sleep folders, let's create a new folder and give it a name of models, and let's create a new file inside the models folder, give it a name of article underscore category dot. Okay, so to declare an enum in Dart, you just simply use this enum keyword and then provide the name of the enum. I'm going to give the name article category. Okay, so let's provide the first case general, and then business and technology. and entertainment, sports, science, and finally health. Okay, so these are the article categories. Okay, and we have created the article category Enum. Next, let's create another model to represent that pen item. So create a new file inside the models folder and give it a name of NewsPage dot. Okay, so here let's create a class, give it a name of NewsPage. Okay, let's declare all the properties, make it final. First one is a title with the type of string, and then second one is icon data. Okay, so for the icon data, let's make sure you import this one that uses this Fluent UI. Okay, so just not to mistaken importing the one that comes from Cupertino or Material Theme. Okay, so this is the icon data from the Fluent UI, and give it a name of icon data, and then next property is article category enum with the name of category. Okay, let's create the initializer here, and let's give it a name NewsPage. Okay, let's make this using a name parameter by passing this closure, this braces, sorry, and make this required. This dot title, first one, required this dot icon data, and finally required this dot category. Okay, we have created this news page model. Now we can go back to main.dart file, and in here let's create another property containing all the default news page items. So below the view key property, let's declare a final with the type of list and news page, and give it a name of pages, and let's provide the default value. Okay, the first one is news page. For the title, let's pass top headlines, and for the icon data, let's pass fluent icons dot news, and for the category, let's pass article category dot general. Okay, this is the first one. Now let me copy this, one for business, one for technology, entertainment, sports, science, and health. Okay, let's update the title. The second one is business, and the icon is business center logo, and the category, change that to business. Let's go to the third one. The third one is, the title is technology, and the icon is, I'm going to just use laptop secure, and for the category I'm going to use technology, and the fourth one is entertainment, and for the icon I'm going to pass my movies TV, and the category is entertainment, and the fifth one is sports, and for the icon I'm going to pass more sports. For the category I'm going to pass sports, and the sixth one is science. For the icon I'm going to pass communications maybe, and for the category I'm going to pass science. The last one is health. Okay, and I think we have the appropriate health icon here, health. Okay, there it is. and let's make sure you pass article category dot help. Okay, so we have all of this. Make sure we add, what are we missing here? Maybe missing the closing parentheses. Okay, and there you go, we have all of this. And I think we need to make this const, okay, to remove all the warnings. So this will basically a constant, right? That will never change for the entire lifetime of the app since the beginning. Okay, now we have all the navigation pane items. We need to go back to the hard-coded items in the navigation pane. So let's delete this. So basically we have the news page array, and here, but the type is news page. We need to map it properly. So here, let me invoke.map, and let me also explicitly pass the type, which is the navigation pane item. Okay, and here we need to provide the closure, and I'm going to just initialize pane item. For the icon, I need to pass icon and then pass icon data. Okay, and second one is the title. I can pass title. Okay, and make sure in here you pass, after the invocation to the map, you invoke this toList. Okay, this will just change the type to the list. Okay, in here we need to pass text, because title is a string, so it accepts a widget instead of a hard-coded string, instead of type of string. Okay, now we have the pane properly mapped. As you can see here, we have all the navigation pane items that is properly mapped from the news page into array of list of navigation pane item. Looks great, and yeah, everything works perfectly. And that's it for the navigation pane items. Let's move on to the next one. So also here inside the item builder, I want to show you here. Let me just return the text, and then here I'm going to grab the pages, passing the index. As you can see, the index is being passed to us in this item builder. So this will get the news page, and then I can pass the title. If you see here, when I change this, health, top headlines, business, technology, and health. Nice. Okay, so next let's implement the main content screen, which uses the grid layout. So here inside this lib, let's create another folder, and let's give it a name of widgets, and declare a new file inside the widgets folder, and give it a name of NewsListDot. So here let's type SNT, and as you can see here, Flutter provide this extension provide the completion stateful widget, stateless widget with animation and controller. In this case, we're going to use this completion of stateful widget creation. Okay, and let's give it a name of NewsList. Okay, NewsListPage, I think. Okay, and let's begin by importing the Fluent UI.dart. Okay, to remove all those fake warnings. Okay, and let's begin from the initializer here, this stateful widget. So first let's inject the news page here. Let's declare the property final news page and with the name of NewsPage. So we are going to inject NewsPage to this stateful widget when the user select a navigation pane item. Okay. In here, after the key, let's add another required parameter, required this dot NewsPage. Okay, that's it for the initializer. Next, we need to implement this NewsListPage state, this widget build method, to return the scaffold page. Okay, so for offline UI based app, we need to return this scaffold page for the content here inside the navigation pane item. Okay, this is similar to the scaffold page also in material theme, I think, if I not forget. Here we need to provide the header. Let's pass the page header widget, and for the title we need to pass text, and we need to grab this NewsPage property from this stateful widget. So we need to use widget dot NewsPage dot title. Okay, that will be the title for the page header. Next one is we need to provide the content, and in this content let's provide a grid here. So in here I'm just going to return a grid view dot, I'm going to use grid view dot builder here. So by using a grid view dot builder, it will be better on the performance, as the items inside the grid view will be lazily initiated as the user scrolls. So this will be beneficial if you have a lot of items inside your grid. Okay, as it will be instantiated lazily for each item. Okay, so here we need to provide the grid delegate. This will determine the layout of the grid, the size of each item, as well as the spacing. So I'm going to use sliver grid delegate with mass cross axis extend. Okay, the syntax can be quite a bit long, and here for the max cross axis extend, this will be the width of the item. I'm going to pass a hard coded of 270 as the width, and here I'm going to also set the height. So this main axis extend is the height of the item. I'm going to pass 290 as the height. So if you see in here, the height of each of the item inside the grid is fixed. I don't want to use a dynamic size for each item. Also, I don't want to deal with the child aspect ratio in grid view. So using this max cross axis extend and main axis extend inside the silver grid delegate with max cross axis extend provide that behavior that I want, which is a fixed width and height. Okay, and next I'm going to pass main axis spacing. Okay, so the spacing, I think this is the horizontal spacing. I'm going to pass 10, and the vertical spacing I'm going to pass 10. Okay, so this will be the spacing between items horizontally, and then this will be the spacing between the new line for each row. Okay, so we have this. Let's make it a bit clean, and we enter here. Okay, this thing should enter here, enter here. Okay, and then we need to provide a handler inside the item builder. It should be closure here, so it pass the context as well as the index. Okay, sorry, I need to pass this. So in here I'm going to hardcode the widget for now. I'm just going to pass a container, okay, with the child of text, and here I'm just going to show item as well as the index. Okay, and let me also show the color for the container. Let me just also hardcode the color to blue for now to make it easier for debugging this layout, right? Okay, now we have this. Let's go back to the main.dart here inside the home page state item builder. So in here, basically we just return the NewsListPage, okay, and we simply grab the NewsPage, passing the index, the selected index. Okay. Okay, let's go back to the NewsList.dart and let's see the result in here. Okay, as you can see, this is the result. Okay, this looks nice. So if you want to play around with the size here, so let's say I want to change this to 200, right? So I think this will be the width, right? Okay, this is 200, and let's say I want to change the height to 100. Reload. Okay, as you can see, this is 200 width and 100 height. So this main axis spacing, let's say set this to 30. Okay, this is the, oh sorry, so actually the main axis spacing is the spacing between each of the line for the row here. So this is 30 now, and the cross axis spacing is the spacing between the item horizontally. So here this is 10, so let's say I set this to 50, right? Okay, now this is 50, the spacing between the item horizontally in a row. Okay, now you understand all of these parameter and what will it affect, and the effect of each of its parameter to this grid layout. So I'm going to revert it back to use this. Okay, so let me okay, now it's properly layout properly. Okay, looks good now. And if you see in here, this is still not good, I think. Let's add a padding. So in here, the leading, the trailing, as well as the top and the bottom. Okay, to do that, let's just press enter after the grid delegate and declare a padding. Okay, let's pass a constant of edge insets all and then pass 16. Let's save this and let's see the result. Okay, now we have this leading padding and trailing padding as well as top and bottom for this grid view. Okay, this looks good now. And other than that, we need to also pass the item count in here. Let me just pass 30 now. So we have 30 item here. So that's how you create a grid layout using Flutter. Okay, so now let's begin implementing the news grid item in here. So if you notice that the theme of the app has changed to dark, as actually this is already a night time in here. So this is actually pretty nice, right? And then before doing that, I'm going to open this widgets folder and then create a new file, give it a name of NewsItem.dart, and then I'm going to use Stateless widget for this NewsItem. Okay, and at the top, let's import Fluent UI dot, and let's also import material dot. But to avoid any namespace collision, I'm going to rename this to material. We are going to use several constant colors for this as well as the image in this stateless widget. Okay, now let's go back to the news list, but before that I want to resize this a bit so we can preview the UI as we build this. Okay, as this is actually quite tricky to build this NewsItem widget. So here I'm going to change this container to return NewsItem. Okay, so when I reload this, it should be blank, I think. Let me reload. Okay, now it's blank. I think this is properly synced now. This usually happens, so basically you can restart using this icon. Okay, and let's go back to NewsItem.dart and start building the widget. So inside this build, I want to basically use this card widget. Okay, and for the child, the card, I'm going to use column, which is basically a vertical stack container. So with this, we should be able to pass a list of widgets that will be stacked vertically. Okay, as you can see now, the UI got updated with this card-like UI for each of the grid item. So the first item inside the column, it will be an image. So we will download an image from the network. Luckily, the Flutter provide this image downloading mechanism as well as caching. So I want to use this fade-in image. So by using a fade-in image, it will provide a smooth transition when the image has been finished downloading. And in this case, I'm going to pass a memory network. So there are two required parameters, which is the placeholder. This will accept a bed array of image, and this is the URL string of the image. For this, I will use another dependency actually, which is transparent image. So by using the transparent image, it will provide the constant for the bed array that we can use for the placeholder. I think this is also created by the Flutter team. And then copy this, and let's go back to the Visual Studio Code, open the terminal, command V. This will add it to the putspec.yaml, download it. Okay, it's been added. Transform image 2.0. Okay, let me close this. Now we can use this K transparent image. This will import it from the transparent image.dart. Okay, now for the image, we need to pass a URL to the image, and I'm going to pass just a stub image here. You can also provide your own URL for the image in here. I'm going to pass this. Okay, as you can see, the image has been downloaded successfully, and then before it being shown, it has that smooth transition. Okay, now we have the placeholder, we have the image. Let's see, we also need the image placeholder, image error builder, in case the image fails to download. Instead of showing an error that we don't want, we need to provide a widget to be shown. So here I'm just going to, so there are three parameters: error, context, and the stack trace. And we need to provide a closure, then return the widget. In this case, I'm going to return an icon, and then for the icon, I'm going to use this material icons.image, and for the color I'm going to use material.colors.gray with a shade of 300. Okay, so this will be shown in case the image fails to load or maybe the URL is broken. And then I want to basically scale the image using this fit. In this case, I can pass box fit dot. I'm going to use cover. Okay, this will properly scale the image to its container. Okay, now we have the image. So basically, next we want to make the image top left and top right to be rounded properly in here, and then we need to remove all of these paddings. So here the padding between the image and the border of the card will be 0. So to make the top left and top right image to be rounded, there are multiple ways, but I'm going to use this clip R rectangular rect as the masking. Press our rounded rectangular clip with the border radius that we can pass. Okay, so here we can pass this border radius as the parameter, and then we can customize it by passing border radius only. And here we can pass top left, and we can pass the radius circular with a value of 6, and top right radius circular with a value of 6. Okay, so that's the border radius. We need to pass this as a constant also. And next we are going to wrap the fade in image inside a container widget. Okay, so let's declare a container, and with using this container we can actually adjust the sizing behavior. So for the width, I'm going to make it as width as this parent container. To do that, I can pass double dot infinity, and for the height I'm going to make it fixed with the value of 180. And then for the background color, I'm going to pass material dot colors with the gray and shade of 700. Okay, and next I'm going to pass the fade in image as the child, the container. Cut this and then paste it here. Okay, as you can see, we have the image top left and top right radius are properly circular now. Nice, right? This is quite simple to do in Flutter. And next, let's remove the padding. So basically the card widget provide a default padding that we need to override in here. So I'm going to pass padding using this edge insets. In this case, I only want to apply a padding to the bottom, which is only I'm going to pass the bottom with a value of 8. Okay, wow, looks nice, right? And let's continue. And in here, I want to configure this column main axis alignment to be start. Okay, and then also the cross axis element to be start. So this will make all the children to be aligned from the leading sides. Okay, so let's add the second children inside the stack. For the second children, we are going to add the text actually, but we're going to wrap it in an expanded to avoid any overflow in case the text got very large. So I'm going to use expanded, and then I'm going to also add a padding around it. I'm going to pass edge insets and only top to be 8, left to be 8, and right to be 8. Okay, so let's see, we have the padding. Now we need to add the child for this. For the child, we are going to add the text. Okay. And for the text, I'm going to hardcode the value for now because we don't have the model for the article. Elon Musk offer to purchase Twitter for 43. Let me just pass 43 billion. Okay. Oh, I think we need the comma in here. Okay, this is being rendered nicely. Okay, but actually I want to configure the typography of the text in here to use the Fluent UI typography. So to do that, I need to get the typography here before we return the card. Let's grab the Fluent UI typography. I think this one. Sorry, this one is material. Second one, typography. And then let's use Fluent theme of. Fluent theme of. We need to pass the context and grab the typography. Okay, now we have the typography, and basically we can use it to style the text in here. And for the style, let me give a comma in here, and then style, we can use typography dot body large. This is an optional, so let's just modify it a bit, change the size a bit to font size factor of 0.8, make it a bit smaller. Okay, now we have to use this typography body large with the font size factor of 0.8, and then I want to set the maximum lines to only 3 lines, and then in case it's overflow, I want to add an ellipsis. Okay, so let's say I modify this, right? If you see here, when the text got large, okay, it will be maximum of 3 lines, and then it will add this ellipsis at the end. Okay, this will avoid any overflow issue. Okay, and for the next one, I want to add the caption text actually. So in here, let me add another view after the expanded. I'm going to add a padding here, and then I'm going to pass a constant with edge insets. I want to pass top of 8, right of 8, and left of 8. Okay, now let's add the child. For the child, I'm going to show the text as well as the drop down menu button. So let's declare the, so to stack the item, the widgets vertically, we can use this row. This also accepts an array of list widget that will be stacked horizontally, the axis. Okay, so let's begin the first item. The first item is a text for the caption. In this case, I'm going to wrap it also in expanded to avoid any overflow issue. In this case, I'm going to hardcode the value, declare text, and then hardcode the value to, let's say, Bloomberg 2 hours ago. Okay, let's also style the text in here to make it a bit smaller. We're going to use typography dot caption. Remember, this is on optional, so we need to use this, make it a bit smaller also with the font size factor or 0.8 also. Okay, this looks good now. Actually, it's a bit too small. I think 1 is good. Okay, and then we have that. Now let's set the max lines to be only one for this caption, and let's also add the overflow because it's get too long with the overflow of ellipsis. Yeah, this looks good. Okay, for the next item in the row, let's add the drop down button. Okay, and here we need to pass an array of drop down button item. Okay, we need to provide the handler when the user tap, and these items expected to find. Did I miss something? This okay. Yeah. Now let's add a icon from the drop down button. Let's use this title, and then we need to pass the icon. In this case, I'm going to pass Fluent icon dot share, comma, and let's pass the icon for the first item. Let's pass the title, and then provide const of text open in browser. We need to pass the leading widget. In this case, let's pass an icon of Fluent icons dot h logo. This is a Microsoft Edge logo. Okay, I think we need to reload this. Okay, now we have that drop down menu button rendered properly. Okay, in here we have one drop down button item. So let's create another one while we are in here. Let's implement them later. Okay, so the second one is a send via email. So in this case, I'm going to change the text to send and then use the Fluent icons dot send. Okay, this will be a mail icon. And the third one is copy URL. So in here, I want to use this Fluent icons dot, I think there's copy there. Okay, let's see. Yeah, there are 3 drop-down items: open in browser, send, and copy URL. This looks good. I think we have successfully implemented the grid item. Let's see the results in here. Yeah, this looks good, I think. Okay, now let's go back and implement the article model and the news API. Okay, so I think we make a mistake to import this Dart math. Let's delete this. Okay, and let's open the navigation pane, and then inside the models folder, create a new file and give it a name of article.dart. Okay, and then inside here, before we implement this article model, I want to import another library to show a relative date time in a text. For example, given a date time, we're going to show 1 minute ago, 30 minutes ago, 1 day ago. So instead of calculating that ourselves and provide all the localized, we can use a third-party pub. So actually, in this pub.dev, let's search for this time ago, a library usable for creating fuzzy timestamp. Example 15 minutes ago. Let's install this to our PubSpec. Okay, copy this and then open the terminal, paste, edit to PubSpec. So okay, time ago 3.2.2. Okay, close this. Now let's import this time ago, the dart. Let's give it a name of time ago. Okay, let's create a class article. Okay, so before we implement this, I want to show you the JSON that will be returned. Let me pass it here. So as you can see in the article here inside this array, we have the source, we have the author, title, description, URL, publish at, this is the ISO timestamp date. And for our UI, we only want to get the source name. This will be shown in caption text, and then we're going to get the title as well as the image URL and the publish at. So we're going to format this using the time ago library. So let's implement this and create all the properties that we need. First one is title. Second one is your URI. This will be the URI. We will use this to open the browser when the user click on that card. And the one is the time published app. Okay, and we're also going to show the source of the news, the article. We're going to give it a name of source, and finally we're going to declare the URL to image. So actually this is an optional. There will be an instance where this URL to image returns null, so let's use this optional. This is new in Dart, I think. And let's create a initializer using this const article. Okay, and let's use a name parameter in here. So required, everything is required. This dot title, required this dot URI, required this dot publish at, and required this dot source, and finally required this dot URL to image. Okay, and I'm going to create a method here that returns a string. Give it a name of caption text. So this will transform the publish at as well as the source into a single string. In here, I'm going to declare final for method published at, and then I'm going to invoke time ago format. I'm going to pass it published at property, and then for the locale, I'm going to pass en_short. Okay, you can check any other parameter that you can pass from the documentation. Okay, now we have this, and we can basically return the source. Okay, and then add a single space and return the format publish at. Okay, that will be the caption text. And next, let's also create a factory initializer that accepts a JSON map. So when we fetch this from our API, we can pass the map to initialize this article. Okay, so use this factory and then give it the article dot from JSON. Okay, and then the parameter is map with the type of string as the key and dynamic as the value. Okay, the name is JSON. Okay, now we need to return the article. Okay, let's begin from the title. So if you see in here, so for the title, the key is title. So JSON title. In case it is empty, we just provide a empty string to avoid crashes. Okay. Second one is title, and then URI, JSON URL. Okay, and let's also provide the default value of empty string, and the third one is publish at JSON. And then in here we're going to invoke this native datetime try parse. So here we need to pass the string from the JSON. Let's pass this publish at the key. So this will convert that string to the Dart native datetime instance type. Okay, and remember that this can fails, and we need to provide the false value. But I don't think it will fail if the format is not changed very much. So let's just provide that time now for the publish at value, the fallback value. And the next one is the source. Okay, this is a bit nested. If you see here, it's inside this source JSON itself. So we can basically use this JSON source and also invoke them as the key again. And finally, we have the URL to image. Here we can invoke JSON and then pass the key of URL to image. Okay, don't forget to add semicolon in Dart. Okay, I think everything looks good. Title, URL, and then publish at that time, source, and the URL to image. Okay, let's delete this. Now we have successfully created the model. Next, let's implement the NewsAPI. So for the NewsAPI, we are going to utilize this NewsAPI.org API. So basically here you can register for free and then get the API key from them. It provides a free quota. If you see here, developer with a 0 pricing. So basically it limits to 100 requests per day. So please do register and get the API key to be used in the NewsAPI service. Okay, I'll provide a link to that newsapi.org in the description as well. Now inside the lib, let's create a new folder and let's give it a name of services. This will contain all the services, but for our app it will be only one. But let's make it a bit organized. Give it a name of NewsAPI.dart. Okay, now let's begin implement this. So actually, to make an HTTP request in Dart, we need to also use a dependency, which is HTTP. So here, let's search for HTTP. This one can be used for all the platforms, Android, iOS, and so on. So let's install this. Edit the bootstrap and open the terminal. Command V. Okay, it added the HTTP dependencies now to our app. Now we can begin implement the NewsAPI. So first, let's import the http.dart, and let's give it a name of HTTP. Okay, and let's create a new class, give it a name of NewsAPI. Let's create an initializer. Okay, NewsAPI, and let's create a static const, give it a name of base URL. So the base URL for this API is https://newsapi.org/v2. We're going to use the v2 endpoint, and then let's provide the const for the API key. So please do register and get the API key and paste in here. But in this case, I'm going to use my API key. I recommend you not to use this because it has 100 limited quota per day. So please do register for your own API key. Okay. And we only have one method in here. So basically this will return a future of list of article. Okay, so basically this feature is a asynchronous operation that will produce a failure or maybe throw a error. So there will be a state of incomplete and completed. So when you use this feature, we can use the async await in Dart. I suggest you to just read the documentation about feature and async await for better explanation. Okay, and here give it a name of fetch articles, and let's pass a parameter of article category. Okay, and let's begin by declaring a var URL. Let's begin by using the NewsAPI.base URL to begin, and then we are going just to append the query parameter here. The first one is the path. We are going to use these top headlines. Okay, and then next one is the first query parameter. Let's add the question mark, and then this is the key, API key. Here we need to pass the basically this API key constant that we have declared. Okay, and next we need to append the next param using this and. Let's make sure the language is English. Okay, and let's also pass the category. So we need to basically convert this category enum into a string. So to do that, let's create a method in here, give it a name of string, and give it a name of category query param value. Okay, category, and then give it a name of category. Here let's just use switch, passing the category, provide a default value. Let's return general as the default value. Okay, now let's implement all the case. I'm just going to copy and paste to save time here. Okay, so basically for general we return the general string, business, technology, and so on. Okay, now we can invoke this category. So let's use this category query. Query. Did I miss something? Why can I invoke this? Oh, I think this should be category instead of category. Category query param value. Let me just copy this, and then let me pass the category. Okay, this will return the string. Okay, we have this. Now let's begin by declaring the response first. Let's make a HTTP call. To do this, we can just use this await as the prefix, and then invoke http.get. Okay, so in here we need to pass URI. So I'm going to use URI.parse and then pass the string, which is this URL var that we have created before. Okay, and don't forget we need to mark this method as async. Okay, nice. Now we get the response. Continuing on, we need to check the response actually. The response status code is success 200. Give me a second, I will copy the JSON again to show you here, to give you a better picture. So if the response.status code is 200, we're going to get the JSON. We can use this JSON decode. Okay, this will import dart.convert, and then in here we can simply pass response.body. This will create a map, a native Dart map with the key of string and dynamic as the value. Okay, now we can use this status. Okay, you can see status. If the status, if you can see in the JSON here, is okay, is equal to the string okay. So if the response is okay and 200, we're going to get the declare a final dynamic articles JSON, and then in here we're going to go to grab this array. Okay, JSON articles. Okay, and provide a fallback value of empty array. Next, let's declare a final with the type of list article. Here we give the name of articles, and we can simply invoke articles JSON.map. We need to provide the type explicitly, which is article. Okay, and we need to provide the closure to map, and then in here we can simply invoke article from JSON, passing the value. Okay, and let's check. It gives an error in here. Okay, I think we need to, let me check. I think we need to import to list in here. No. Okay, this works. We got the list of article, and then we need to just return the articles. Okay, and continuing on, else if the status is not okay, we need to throw an exception. But as you can see, we need to grab the message from the JSON. So here inside this JSON, in case of failure, there will be additional key of message. So we're going to grab the JSON with the message as the key, and then provide a fallback in case it is empty. Fail to load articles. Okay. And here we also need to provide additional else. Here, in case the response is not equal to 200, we just throw an exception. Fail to load articles. Bad response. Okay, we have implemented this NewsAPI with one method to fetch the articles given a category. Now we should be able to use this inside the newslist.dart. So now let's go back to the widgets newslist.dart. First, we need to declare a property. In here, NewsListPage state. So this property will be type of future. So using this let means that this can be initialized late, and the type of this future is list of article. Okay, and give it name of future articles. And basically, instead of initializing these future articles inside the build method that can be changed, reinitialized when the something changes, we're going to put it inside the instead. This is recommended by the Flutter team for better performance and efficiency. So after the super.init state, we need to, one more thing. Let's declare the NewsAPI instance in here inside this list page. Okay, NewsAPI, and then the name is NewsAPI, and let's declare const NewsAPI. Okay. So in the init state, after the invocation to super, we can actually assign these feature articles with widget.newsapi.fetch articles. And for the category, we can pass widget.newsPage.category. Okay. So this won't actually perform the task immediately. This just get the feature instance. So it won't trigger the downloading inside this method. Okay. So how do we trigger the process this feature inside the build widget? So actually, this is one of the things that I really love about Flutter. There's a widget that calls FutureBuilder. So basically, we are going to use the FutureBuilder as the content of this scaffold page, and then we're going to pass this feature. Then it will basically trigger the downloading, and then there will be a builder containing the closure and the state, whether it's still downloading, whether it fails, whether it successfully get the data. Okay, so without further ado, let me just implement it. Right, first I'm going to cut this, okay, and then I'm going to replace it with FutureBuilder. Okay, and the type is list of article. Okay, that is type. And here the first parameter is the feature. We need to pass the feature articles, and the second one is the builder itself. Okay, so in here this will be a closure, and here there are two parameters, context and the snapshot. So inside this builder, we need to return a widget based on the snapshot state. Okay, so let's begin the first condition. If the snapshot has the data, it means the data has been downloaded completely. It means the data has been finished downloading. Okay, in this case, I'm just going to return the grid view builder. Okay, but now we have the data, which is the list of article. So I can basically use snapshot.data. So now we are certainly sure that this snapshot has the data in here, because this has data is true. So we can use this exclamation mark and then return the length for the item count. Okay, and for the news item, I need to also update this to basically accept the article. Okay, so in here let's declare the final article, and let's inject this in the initializer, make it required this dot article. Okay, now we can grab the article inside this news item, inside this item builder for the grid view builder. To do that, we can just use snapshot. Sorry, we need to declare the parameter snapshot data. So this is an array, a list. Here we can just pass the index. Okay, and what else? We have this. Now we need to handle the case where if the snapshot has failed to download the articles. So here we can check if snapshot has error. Okay, so if it throws an error in that feature inside the NewsAPI. So let me grab the typography again. Oh, this one is from the Fluent UI, and typography Fluent theme of context dot typography, and basically in here I'm going to show a error with the retry button. So I'm going to stack it vertically using a column. And then okay, this is the children. So first I want to declare spacer to push it down to the middle. I'm going to declare spacer in between the content. And then in the middle, first I'm going to center this, and I'm going to declare text, and then basically I'm going to use snapshot dot error. Let's wrap this inside a string interpolation. Okay, and that's the text. And let's style the text a bit here. Okay, style, typography, and then let's use body strong, as it shows an error in here, and let's make it align to center. Text align dot text align dot center. Okay, and let's add a button below, but before that let's add a bit of padding. To add a bit of padding, we can also use this size box. There's a lot of trick on Flutter actually to do this. You can use a padding widget, but in this case I'm just going to use a size box with height of 10 for padding. And then I'm going to use this fill button from the Fluent UI, and I'm going to show the text, refresh, okay, and provide a on press handler to just reinitialize the future so it can be retried. So to reinitialize a property in Flutter, just make sure to use set state. Give me a second. So on pressed, I need to add this. Syntax can be quite tricky when using Flutter. So we need to invoke set state, and then inside this closure we need to modify the property. This will trigger the build widget again. Okay, in this case let me just set the future articles, reinitialize it with the widget.NewsAPI.fetch articles, passing the widget.NewsPage.category. Okay, that's it. Everything look good. Yeah, one more case, which is the loading case. Okay, else if this is a bit large now. So here, after this else if, we also need to return something. So this will be, I think we have handled the has data, has error. I think the final case is the loading state, right, when it downloads the data. So here, let me just return a center. Okay, and inside the center widget I'm going to return a size box, so I can specify the height to be 30 and width to be 30, and I'm going to use the material.circular. Do we have material in here? No, I think Fluent UI doesn't have circular progress indicator, so we might need to borrow from the material theme, but make sure to rename this to avoid any conflict. So when using material theme, there's a circular progress indicator that we can actually use. Okay, that's it. Let's check anything else that we miss in here. I think everything looks good. Let me reload this. Okay, exception has occurred. Type map is iterable. It's not a subtype. Okay, So I think in here we need to invoke to list, right? Convert this. Let's run this. Yeah, so this article json.map article, and then article.from json, and then I invoke to list. Let's reload again. Okay, this is not given an error now. I think we need to update the stop here. This list inside this news item. Okay, we are currently stubbing all the value. Let's begin from the title, the image first. So inside the image, currently we pass this hard-coded. Okay, in here article dot URL to image, and this is the placeholder. Okay, now build successfully. This will basically this will basically show a placeholder image you see in here with the size of 180. Okay, and in case the URL to image is empty. And next one is the title here. Let's change this article dot title, and this one, this caption, change this to article dot caption text. Okay, let's see. Wow, this looks good. Let's change the category. Nice, it works now. The app looks good. Now let's implement the click handler here to open the URL for the article in the browser, as well as this handler for all of these drop-down menu items. Okay, so first let's implement the cart handler. So basically, to do that, we need to wrap this cart so inside a hover button. Okay, and let's provide the on-pressed handler. I'm going to use this one. Let's make this async, I think. Okay, and let's provide a cursor that will be shown. In this case, I'm going to use system mouse cursor.click, and then in the builder, we need to provide the closure again. It has two parameters, context and states. Okay, now we're going to cut this card. Okay, and then pass this inside the builder. Boom. Nice. There's no build time error. So basically, in this on press, we need to open the URL, but to do that, we need to import several dependencies. Okay, so the first one is, let me show you one by one. The first one is the URL launcher. So this can be used to open the URL. It supports web, phone, SMS, and email schemes. Support iOS, Linux, macOS, web, Windows. So let's add this first. This one, copy this and open this in terminal, paste, edit to PubSpec, and let's wait. Okay, it's successfully imported all the pub dependencies. And the next one is this. I'm going to use this share plus. Also, this can be used to also on Windows to open the mail when sharing an URL. So there are a lot of alternatives actually that you can use when developing a Flutter app. I think the ecosystem is quite rich with the community support. So that is very good, right? Let's also add this. And the final one is the clipboard support. So to add a clipboard support, basically we can use this clipboard package, a Flutter package that lets you copy text to the system clipboard. Let's also add this and paste this. Okay, we have added all the dependencies for the project. Now we can implement all the action handler. So this one is when we click on the card, we're going to open the web browser. Here I'm going to trigger this if not the await of invoking this launch, passing the article URI. So if this is not false, I'm basically going to, this will basically open the URL, but in this case I'm just going to log a message in here, call not launch URI. This is only for debugging purposes, and then pass the article your URI. Okay, and then the next one is this one, open in browser. To make this faster, I'm just going to copy and paste this. Okay, let's make this also async. Paste this. Okay, and the next one is the share send using mail. So here I'm going to show you on using the share plugin. You can invoke share. Let's import this, enter, and then invoke share. Here I can basically invoke the text that will be sent, the email. Check out my website, check out this article. Okay, I'm going to pass article.uri. Okay, and the last one is copy URL. So here I need to use this Flutter clipboard. This will, when I enter, this will import this from the clipboard package, and I can invoke copy, passing article.uri. And basically in here I want just to this, when I think we need to show some visual indicator when the clipboard has been copied. So to do that, we can use a snack bar. So for this, I'm just going to copy and paste the code to save time. This is quite long. So this is the show copied snack bar. It accepts the build context and the copied text. So we can use this Fluent UI show snack bar, passing the context, and for the content we can pass the snack bar, and then the rich text. This is the text copied, and then the children we pass the text pad, and then we show the copied text in here. Okay. So here, after the text has been copied to the clipboard, system clipboard successfully, we're going to use this then. This is a future, I think, and basically here this also provide a, we need to provide a then. So this is the value, and then we can invoke show copy snack bar, passing the copied text, right? And then I'm just going to pass article.uri. Okay, I think we completed all the action handlers inside that card. Now let's reload this to make sure everything works properly. Okay, articles are loaded, and let me click. Let me open. I think this is not working properly. Oh, this fails. Missing plugin exceptions. I think if this happens, let's try to stop this and rebuild this from scratch. This usually happens. Okay, let's rebuild this. Okay, it successfully rebuilt the app from scratch. Let's click again. Okay, now it works successfully. We just need to rebuild the app when adding that URL launcher plugin. Okay, so the clicking on this card works now. Next one is this opening browser. Okay, works. And send is to show open the default mail client. Okay, I haven't set up my account, but it successfully opened that, so it will work. Next one is copy the URL to clipboard. Okay, let me copy this one. I think Windows 11 copy URL. Okay, it shows this snack bar republic HTTP. Okay, let me Ctrl-V. Okay, it successfully copied to clipboard this republicworld.com. Okay, everything works now. We have successfully built the native news Windows app using Flutter as our UI framework. This is amazing, and then I think this can be the future of UI development, multi-platform UI development, cross-mobile, web, desktop, such as Linux, macOS, and Windows. Okay, this is really helpful even for a iOS developer like me, because with this I can utilize my skill to build a native application in many other platforms. Okay, so I encourage you all to build your own Flutter application, and any application that you would like to build your own project for a long time. Now you can make it a cross-platform app now using Flutter. So for any issue that you encounter when working on this project, please download the complete project from the GitHub repository. So that's it for this video. I hope that you enjoy this video. I think I touched Flutter. It's been a long time since I touched Flutter. Maybe I think I'll develop a Flutter app last time in 2020. It's been almost 2 years. And yeah, I think Flutter provides a great tooling, provides stability, as well as a great tool when developing cross-platform applications. This is really amazing. Okay, and that's it. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel to get notified for the new video. And let's keep on being a lifelong learner. That's the thing that I always say. And see you on the next video. Goodbye.